Hello everyone, welcome to another Joseki video. Today we'll be covering the Big Knight defense. Personally, I think the Big Knight enclosure or defense is my favorite because it's sort of like a balance between the Small Knight, which is kind of outdated, and also the super modern 2-space high extension defense, which we'll talk about in the next videos. So I personally really like the Big Knight defense because it's very flexible. You can turn that into influence. You can turn that into a very big corner, as long as you know how to defend some of the invasions or some of the testing moves that White has. Today we'll be covering the most popular invasion move. That is for White to attach a D16. So this is a Joseki move. This is not any sort of weird random move. This is played all the time. And yeah, I see that pretty much in 1 out of my 2 games. Against this move, Black's, my recommended defense is for you to Hane here. So before that, I just want to say this kind of move is really passive. So I really don't recommend it. White is going to jump and then Black turns here. White is able to basically reduce Black's influence in Sente, which is not a great outcome for Black, although playable. And of course, there's also another main line in this Joseki that is for Black to Hane. White is going to Hane like this. And this gets really complicated. White's going to Atari from outside. And the mainline variation is for Black to actually Atari here. But sometimes you might encounter people who actually play out this kind of super complex variation that is pretty much an avalanche, right? So if you want to have fun and test your reading skills, you can try out this variation, right? So the idea is that Black does not give up any of the groups and then try to destroy White. And White, on the other hand, try to survive both groups. So this is a very fierce fight. You could try it out in your own game and see what happens. But today I want to present the simplest to understand type of variation. And that's most played. I play that all the time in my game. So Black Hanes and then White Hanes from the outside. If White cuts, cross cut at 3-3, this might be a challenging move for some of my viewers, especially when it comes to crosscuts, right? So the best idea when you encounter a crosscut is to extend your weakest stone. What do I mean by that? Well, the correct move is for Black to extend the D17 stone like this. Well, why don't we? So first of all, why don't we Atari? So let's say, for example, we just Atari because we think it's really fun, but then we suddenly realize all these Ataris leaving us 2 cutting points, and then White is just very strong because there are 2 stones. So now Black is kind of in trouble. If Black defends this threat, White can Atari and kill the D17 stone, and obviously if Black defends, White is able to pierce through like this, and then turn here, make an extension, and then given that this was Black's corner to start with, this is not an acceptable outcome. That's why we don't want to just do these useless Ataris that makes us weak and strengthen our opponent. What we want to do is to extend and make our strong first. And the reason we don't do this kind of extension is because our C16 stone is fairly strong because it has a supporting stone at C14. Our D17 stone, on the other hand, is the weakest stone in this crosscut fighting, which is why we want to extend towards the outside. And then all of a sudden, White is left with 2 weak stones. And then White's best response is probably to Tanuki here, because the more you try to fight, the worse it becomes, right? This already died, and then these guys are super heavy. So crosscut at C17 is playable, but it's not the best move. The best move is for White to Hane on the outside. Black follows up by Ataring and then descend. So this is the mainline variation. Here you need to know two following mainline variations. So the first one is for white to cut at c17. Against this move, the first mistake is for you to actually Atari like this, because now white is able to gain this e18 in Sente and then make a 3-space extension. So white is really comfortable sitting here because the invasion like this, it doesn't work because white can bump into black like this, right? So if black extends on top, white is able to connect underneath. And obviously, if black descends, white is able to cap black and then black is killed inside. So this invasion does not really exist thanks to the e18 stone, and this is not an acceptable outcome because black is really over concentrated. The mainline move is for black to turn at e18. Against this move, white has absolutely no time to play in the corner. Let's say, for example, if he tries this thing out, black is able to Hane on the outside. The 3 stones outside only has 2 liberties, and then black can play out like this. And then white is in serious trouble because now white has to run on the outside. Let's say this happens, and then this corner is still not alive yet, right? So if black blocks over here, white is still not alive inside here right now. So white can absolutely not play in the corner right now. White has to fix the problem by playing g17, and that's the correct move. Black does not want to play f18 actually. It looks like the move to play, but then white can just jump at g15. This g15 move is very useful for the outside. And then black's f18 stone is on the second line. It's only generating a few points, but that's it. The corner is not fixed because of your f18 stone. So it's kind of awkward for black because if black does not play, this thing still exists. White can still drag the corner out. But if you go ahead and fix it, then your f18 stone is really meaningless. Correct move is for black to Atari the stone and then make the corner very clean. White will follow up by playing a 2-space extension. Realize that white cannot play the tiger's mouth because black will pincer, and then white does not have 2 eyes and he has to run. So the correct move is for white to settle down with a 2-space extension. So the result of this is an equal game for both sides. Black gets the corner and the Sente, and then white has a very nice 2-space extension. Given that this is black's 2-stone corner to start with, this is an acceptable result for white as well. So that's one of the main lines that I want to present to you guys. The second mainline variation is for white to push on top. This is slightly trickier. Black needs to Hane. Black cannot allow the Atari, so black extends, and then white is going to play out the push. So here the correct move is for black to turn at e18. This is something that I didn't know about a while ago. All right, this is the Joseki move. So here the correct move is for white to Hane and then really pressure these 2 guys over here. So once we reach here, there's also branches. I personally recommend black to cut at f15. This is a very, I'd say a very nice recommendation. I think most of my viewers would love this position as black. So against this move, white needs to Atari and then make a tiger's mouth, right? This is very hard to actually, I feel like not many people actually know this variation, right? But this is actually the AI recommended variation, and it's pretty much a Joseki for professionals. I just find it's not played as much. So that's one main variation. Black can fix the problem by turning over here So personally, I really like black for my viewers. Although remember that your win rate is still like, equal to whatever win rate you had to start. So white is absolutely fine here. But how you going to make use of the influence that you created here, that's a big subject. For those people who really like to fight, you can also consider the cut over here. This is also a very strong and very fierce move. So if you're a fighter, this is definitely the recipe for you. Against this move, white's correct move is to play out this attach. This is the shape move towards these guys. Black will follow up by very fiercely cutting everything. And then white cannot fight over here because these guys are just way too tight in terms of liberty. So what white will do is to actually settle down with the profits on the left side. And then when black extends out, so black obviously cannot just play like this and then get laddered. That doesn't work. So black needs to extend out, and then white pretty much has to drag this out as well. So this is not obvious to most viewers, but actually the correct move is for white to actually drag out and fight. So I think it's a good fight. If you're a good fighter, you probably like this as black. Although it's still a very undecided fight, right? Moving on. So all depends on your style. If you're more territorial, you can go for the cut on the inside and reach this position, right? This is the standard position. Just a side note, if white drags out, that's okay, but that's not necessarily a good fight for white, because now when black cuts over here, white cannot sacrifice these guys and white has to drag them out. It looks a little bit difficult. It's playable, but it does look a little bit difficult for white. That's why white will sacrifice the 4 stones over there. So that's pretty much, this is the correct variation for both sides. And just to repeat, if you like fighting, you can cut over here. White needs to transfer the profits onto the side. And then black cuts everything. We Atari. These are very comfortable Ataris. And then we reach this position. And then it's your task to play on from here. So this is a very nice fighting game for both sides as well. So that pretty much covers the variations I want to cover, especially this attach. I noticed that, I briefly mentioned that this move also works, but I probably put this into my trick video if I can. I wouldn't spend another Joseki video covering this move. So that pretty much covers up the big knight defense. So if you have any questions, you can comment below the video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and actually learned something from it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, to the channel if you haven't. And thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.